A harpoon sizzled past Kai's ear, embedding in the mast behind him. Around the deck, cadets summoned glowing harpoons and tidal blades, their sea-blessed weapons roaring to life. Kai stood frozen, holding only a length of rope.
Still playing with string, rope rat. This is a naval academy, not a knitting circle.
You don't understand. The patterns are alive. I can feel them.
1 month, cadet. Summon a sea-blessed weapon, or your time at this academy ends. Is that clear?
Superstition has no place here. You are a liability, Kai, and I will recommend immediate expulsion.
Kai said nothing. His fingers traced the intricate knots in the rope, each one a silent promise to his grandfather. That night, alone in his cramped bunk, he unwound the rope and listened for the echo of a voice long gone. Grandfather had whispered, "Knots are the bones of the sea. Bind them right, and you can leash a god."
I won't let them erase you. I'll prove the knots are stronger than any harpoon.
He opened the forbidden journal. The first page showed a serpent coiled around a sinking ship, and beneath it, a diagram labeled Mythic Lashing. The journal spoke of a serpent that slumbered in the abyss, its awakening foretold by a cycle of thrashing. Only the mythic lashing could bind it, a knot so complex it required both hands and a willing heart.
Grandfather believed in this. I have to try, even if it's just a beginner's knot.
That night on the empty deck, Kai crouched and began tying a simple glowing knot from the journal. His fingers moved carefully, each loop a silent prayer.
Come on, just a little. I felt it before.
From a shadowed doorway, Ensign Mara watched the lone figure wrestling with rope. She didn't laugh. She just noted the determination in his posture.
Captain Kai is a danger to morale. His refusal to abandon those archaic knots undermines our entire training doctrine. We should expedite his expulsion.
Agreed. If he cannot produce a weapon in 1 month, he's out. No second chances for rope tricks.
Kai had paused outside the door, hearing every word. His hands clenched into fists, then slowly relaxed. He returned to the deck.
Then I'll make the knots work before that deadline. No more hiding. Practice until my fingers bleed.
He worked until dawn stained the sky, the knot flickering weakly. A fragile promise that maybe, just maybe, the old myths were true. But no more. The next morning, Kai's hand searched the bunk, but the space where the journal should have been was cold and bare.
Did I leave it on deck? If someone found it, the expulsion will be certain.
In the crowded lecture hall, Riker held the leather-bound journal high, its pages fluttering like a captured bird.
Look what the rope rat reads. Grandpa's bedtime stories about magic knots. Did you really think this could save you?
Give it back, Riker. That's all I have left of him.
Mara's eyes, usually downcast, fixed on Riker with a coldness that made the nearest cadets shift uncomfortably. She didn't speak.
Superstitious garbage. I'll confiscate this immediately. You are in detention for a week, effective now, and no more rope practice. If I see you near a rope again, you'll be expelled on the spot. Do you understand?
The patterns are still in my head. I'll practice in secret until my fingers can tie them blindfolded.
That evening, Kai stared at the ship's rigging. The loops and twists rearranged themselves in his mind, every rope a potential knot, every coil a clue. Days later, a storm passed. Kai found his knot still binding the cracked railing, tighter than before, as if the rope had shrunk around the wood.
That shouldn't hold after 3 wave strikes, did I? Reinforce it just by thinking about the pattern.
Ensign Mara approached, her gaze fixed on the same knot. She'd been comparing maintenance logs.
This railing was listed for replacement. That knot you tied, it shouldn't have lasted the night. I checked.
Coincidence. The rope was new when I tied it. Maybe the log is wrong.
That night, Kai's exhaustion pulled him into a dream darker than any sea. His grandfather stood alone on a groaning pier.
You are close now, boy, but the knots aren't free. To bind the serpent, you'll have to give what no sailor can live without.
Grandfather, what do you mean? What price? Tell me.
The pier splintered, and Kai jolted awake, the word vigil searing his mind. He understood now. The journal's warning was real.
There has to be another way. I won't accept that cost. Not without a fight.
3 days later, an unexpected squall struck the training fleet. Waves hammered the hull, and the ship groaned under the strain. A loud crack echoed. The main mast was splitting. Sailors shouted, and Riker's harpoon flashed but only grazed the splintering wood. Kai, forgotten in the scramble, saw the fracture. No weapon could mend wood. He grabbed a coil of rope.
A constrictor weave, doubled back. Grandfather showed me this for broken spars.
His fingers flew, and the rope hummed, tightening with a will of its own. He barely dodged a falling block.
Hold, please hold.
The mast groaned but held. Sailors cheered, and Riker thrust his harpoon skyward, its glow still fading.
My harpoon's shockwave stabilized it. The rope rat just got in the way.
Captain Voss's voice cut through the rain. Well done, Riker. Your quick thinking saved lives. He didn't even glance at Kai.
They'll never see, but the mast still stands. That's what matters. I'll just have to be stronger next time.
In the nights that followed, Kai's practice intensified. On the empty deck, his knots blazed with steady light. One misstep, and a shockwave crashed into a stack of barrels. Mara arrived, eyes wide, seeing Kai amid the scattered barrels.
That was you. The mast, the railing. It's not coincidence. Tell me the truth.
If she knows, they'll call her an accomplice. But she's the only one who's ever looked without laughing.
He tied a simple loop. The rope glowed steady gold, and Mara's doubt became awe.
This is incredible. But if Ren sees this, she'll call it witchcraft and expel you on the spot.
In her quarters, Ren studied the journal. One diagram caught her eye, a constrictor weave matching the mast binding.
This pattern, it's the weave from that mast. Could his knots actually work? Or is this something darker?
She closed it and stared out the porthole. Kai was a threat she couldn't yet name. Next morning, Ren unveiled a special exam. Suspended ropes must be severed by weapon. Cadets lined up, but Kai was handed no blessed blade.
Rope rat, you are up. Let's see you cut a single strand with your precious string.
Kai approached, not to cut, but to tie. As his fingers moved, the rope's pattern glowed in his mind, a diagram he knew.
This sequence, it's the tide collars, winding, grandfather's journal. What is the Academy hiding?
He tied the final loop. A click echoed, and a panel slid open in the floor, stairs descending into darkness. Before anyone could react, Kai dropped inside. Water dripped from ancient stone. On a pedestal lay a rope, no, a cord of living light.
It's breathing, like the knots are already tied inside it. This belonged to the first knot speakers.
Above, footsteps approached. Kai stuffed the artifact into his shirt, its warmth seeping into his skin.
The floor swallowed him. Told you, he's cursed.
Later, Kai stared at his bunk's ceiling. The artifact pulsed against his chest, a secret he'd carry alone until its purpose became clear. In the ship's lower hold, Kai unspooled the living rope and tied a knot. It blazed like a captured star.
Feeding on me. But the power is real. I can feel it.
Mara stepped from the shadows, her expression torn between fear and anger.
You are killing yourself. That thing is cursed. I've seen you getting paler every day.
It's the only way. The knots alone aren't enough. This artifact amplifies them. I have to use it.
And what happens when it drains you completely? Who binds the serpent then? You are no use dead.
Above deck, Riker traced the seam of the hidden panel. The mechanism was too precise to be an accident.
Instructor, the panel in the exam hall. Kai triggered it. He must have taken something from below. Search his bunk.
If you are right, this goes beyond superstition. I'll search it myself tonight.
Far below, Kai clutched the artifact, feeling its pulse sync with his heartbeat. He was running out of time, and he knew it. That night, Ren and Riker stormed Kai's bunk. They found the original journal beneath his mattress, its spine still warm from Mara's hidden hands.
Told you, he's obsessed. And look, ropes, waxed, twine, diagrams he drew from memory. He's been practicing forbidden arts.
This is beyond insubordination. You are a danger to this academy and every sailor. 1 week solitary, then expulsion.
They dragged him to the brig. The artifact, pressed against his back beneath his shirt, seemed to hum in protest. Days later, in the cold cell, a soft knock echoed. Mara's voice, barely a whisper, slipped through the bars.
I brought you bread. And this, one of Ren's old knot manuals. There's nothing about the serpent, but maybe something useful.
Thank you, but I need to do this alone. Grandfather, he's still teaching me, even here.
After she left, Kai closed his eyes. In the darkness behind his lids, his grandfather's figure appeared, hands moving in the intricate dance of the mythic lashing's first sequence.
The first binding is the simplest. See, the over-under weave, the twist that catches the current. Now you try.
Kai's fingers moved on an imaginary rope, trembling but precise. The cell briefly shimmered with a ghost of blue light. On the third day, Mara slipped the torn journal pages and the artifact through the bars.
Use these quickly. They're still investigating the incident. I can't shield you much longer.
With these, I can finally practice the real sequences. The lashing won't be just a memory.
He tied a complex weave, the artifact humming against his skin. The knot held shape for long minutes after he let go.
This could bind a small vessel, maybe even a larger ship. The cost, that dream still haunts me.
Above deck, the fleet measured tremors that didn't match any tide. The sea was wrong. An old sailor on watch muttered the name World Serpent, pointing to a twisted current beneath the surface.
There is no legendary snake. Back to your post, or you'll join the cadet in the brig.
They feel it too. The sea is changing, just like the journal warned. I need to break out before it's too late.
But the brig was solid oak, and expulsion loomed. He gripped the artifact, counting the hours. Without warning, a lesser sea beast with lashing tentacles attacked the harbor. Cadets summoned weapons, but their blades barely scratched its hide.
That sway, it matches the tide serpent's pattern from the journal. I've seen this before.
He pressed the artifact against the lock. The wood splintered. Kai slipped out into the smoke and rushing feet. On the docks, he tied a shimmering knot in the air. The beast froze mid-strike, tentacles locked in place. For 1 long minute, the fleet drove the beast back. Crewmen stared, then rushed to repair the damage Kai's knot had bought them.
This was no rescue. You conjured that creature with your dark arts. Seize him.
He's been practicing forbidden knots. I saw the journal. He's a threat to us all.
Hands grabbed him. He didn't resist. The artifact was still hidden. They dragged him back to the brig. Heavier chains this time.
He saved everyone, and they're treating him like a criminal. I want to scream the truth, but it would only bury us both.
In his cell, Kai stared at the wall. The knot had worked. But the Academy saw only a monster tamer, not a savior. Ensign Mara stormed into the captain's quarters, her voice steady but trembling.
Captain, the beast had no weapon wounds, only rope burns. Kai didn't conjure it. He bound it. Science, not sorcery.
Rope burns prove nothing. The creature's arrival timing with his escape is too convenient. This is dark arts, Ensign.
Near the docks, Ren knelt by the beast's corpse. She traced the burn patterns. They precisely matched a diagram in Kai's journal.
This isn't natural, but it's not evil either. It's a technology I've never seen. What have we been suppressing?
In his cell, Kai pieced together the torn pages. A jagged line of script became whole under the artifact's glow.
The lashing binds gods, but binds the binder's rest. Vigil, I must never sleep while the serpent is bound. So that's the price. But if the serpent comes, what's my sleep against the world? I accept it.
The brig door creaked open. Ren stepped inside, holding the journal, her voice stripped of its usual authority.
Explain this. The beast, the knots, the hidden chamber. If there's a threat, I need the truth.
It begins here. The knots aren't magic. They're a lost field of physics. My grandfather's journal details a leviathan called the World Serpent. This artifact responds to the bindings.
He tied a simple overhand loop. The knot glowed and held fast in the air long after he released it.
That's old dust. Our archives mention knot speakers who could bind reality, but they were purged centuries ago. If this serpent is real and you bind it, others will seek the power. The Academy will execute us for heresy if you are wrong.
Then help me be right. I've accepted the price. I need a place to train and ropes that can withstand the strain.
Ren pressed a hidden switch. A door slid open behind the cell wall. A dusty training room lined with ancient rope tools.
These are treated with kelp resin. They'll hold stronger resonance. Use them, but don't let anyone see you here.
Finally, real training. I can master the lashing, but every hour I use the artifact. I feel it eating my strength.
Outside, Mara kept watch at the corridor, her heart pounding. If Riker found this, it would spell disaster. Kay picked up the first rope and began the repetitive loops of the mythic lashing, his fingers tracing the pattern until it became muscle memory. Without wind or cloud, the sea bled into ink. Not darkness, an absence of light rolling from the abyss. The World Serpent broke the surface. 3 ships shattered like glass under its ironclad coil. Riker's harpoon shattered on its scales. Every blessed weapon bounced off like pebbles on a cliff.
Full retreat, but its tail blocks the east passage. We're trapped.
In the hidden chamber, Kai's rope hummed a death rhythm. The pattern matched his grandfather's design perfectly.
We felt it too. Ren's given the order. Your confinement is lifted. It's now or never, Kai.
He grabbed the kelp resin rope, the live cord, and ran barefoot through the trembling corridor. On deck, chaos reigned. Kai stood at the railing, staring at the Leviathan's glowing eyes, and the crew stared at him.
What is that rope rat doing? He can't. It's impossible.
One chance. Don't think about the cost. Just bind it before we all die.
Kai's hands moved, as if guided by the dead. The kelp resin rope sang a low note, and the serpent's thrashing locked into the rhythm of his weaving.
It's matching the journal. The counter weave is holding. Just keep moving. Don't let it break the sequence.
A shattered mast crashed beside him. He ducked without pausing, the rope never still. Each twist of the knot sent a blue pulse rippling outward. The serpent's strikes faltered, just for a heartbeat, but enough to save the nearest ship. Riker, pale and shaking, raised a stolen crossbow. His shot aimed at the serpent's eye, but it flew wide, straight toward Kai.
Are you insane? You'll kill him.
Kai's hands never stopped. The first half of the mythic lashing locked into place, a web of light that constricted the serpent's midsection. The Leviathan recoiled, a guttural roar shaking the deck plates. For one breath, the fleet saw an opening, a path to regroup.
Halfway. But the next sequences are the hardest, and I am already fading.
His fingers cramped, the artifacts drain a cold fire in his veins. But he started the next loop. There was no other choice. The serpent's tail slammed the water, birthing a whirlpool that dragged the deck sideways. Kai's rope stretched until fibers screamed.
It's going to snap. Only one thing left. The artifact can reinforce it, even if it burns through me.
The artifact blazed white hot. Then a fissure split its core, but the rope held.
The final sequence. It's not another loop. I have to physically touch its heart. Bind the knot to the core itself.
His hands froze. To reach that place, he'd have to dive straight into the maelstrom of crushing coils and fangs.
Kai, no. You'll die before you even touch it.
All batteries. Fire on its port side. Buy him a path.
Cannon. Fire bloomed against the serpent's hide. A distraction, not a wound. It pulled the Leviathan's gaze away from Kai.
This is the price. If I don't wake, it was worth it.
And then Kai dove, rope trailing behind like a falling star, straight into the serpent's heart. Jaws snapped past his ear, but his fingers found the final twist, The mythic lashing locked around the serpent's core. The artifact detonated. Raw potential forged the knot into an unbreakable seal. The serpent froze mid-strike. Its colossal coils became a sculpture of captured fury, wrapped in shimmering ropes of light. Kai was hurled back onto the broken deck, limp as a shattered doll. The rope slipped from his fingers. The ocean went silent. Sailors, who had faced a god, now stared at the frozen monument, then at the fallen cadet.
Kai, help me. Get a medic.
The Leviathan. It's completely immobilized. What did he do?
They pulled him free of the debris. His pulse was there, faint but fighting. For now, the apocalypse was frozen. But in that stillness, a cold presence waited for him to wake. Kai's eyes opened to the sound of distant cheering. He was on a cot, the bound serpent visible through the porthole. But there was no warmth in his waking.
Why does my head feel like a sealed vault? Every thought is heavy, like something is pressing against my mind.
Then it came, a whisper that was not sound, but pressure. Ancient, implacable. It pressed the words directly into his consciousness. The binding endures, only as long as you remain awake. Sleep, and the serpent walks free.
So it's true. I am the lock. The maelstrom lashing didn't just bind the serpent, it bound me to the waking world.
Kai, you are awake. You did it. The serpent is frozen. Everyone is calling you a hero.
I was wrong about you, Kai. What you did today, it's beyond any weapon. The Academy owes you a debt.
I owe you an apology. And my life. We all do.
The crew roared his name, but Kai only stared past them at the bound Leviathan. His victory was already becoming a cage he could never escape.
They'll never know, but I'll hold this vigil until my last breath.
As the fleet celebrated through the night, Kai remained at the railing, eyes fixed on the frozen serpent. His first watch had begun. Dawn brought Mara with a steaming mug. She placed it beside his hand, her gaze full of questions.
You haven't slept. Even after binding a god, you need to rest, Kai.
I am fine. Just not tired, really.
That evening, in his bunk now strung with talismans, Kai attempted to weave a secondary knot. The rope sparked and died.
It's locked to me alone. There's no offloading this weight.
By the third morning, his fingers fumbled a basic coil. A tremor ran through his hands, visible to any who looked closely.
Shadows keep moving at the edge of my sight. Grandfather, is this the price you meant?
At mess, the crew's cheers had faded to hushed tones. Mara watched Kai push food around his plate, her worry deepening.
I can't let them see me falter. Just keep tying one knot for every hour I need to stay awake.
On the fifth sleepless night, the air shimmered. A familiar figure stood among the scattered ropes, his grandfather, proud and sorrowful.
You've done what no other could, but the knot line cannot end with you. Teach them, Kai.
If I fall, the serpent wakes. I need someone to carry the knowledge.
He found Ren in the hidden training room. His voice was hoarse, but the request was clear.
The serpent is only frozen. If I die, the binding ends. We need knot speakers.
I'll help, but this must stay hidden from the council.
Days later, a ceremony under the serpent's shadow. Kai stood on shaking legs, a medal placed over his heart.
For saving the fleet, we honor Kai. May his knots forever bind the chaos.
The serpent sleeps, but it is not dead. Remember the old ways, they're the only shield.
They cheered, but Kai's gaze never left the frozen Leviathan. His personal vigil had only just begun. Weeks became months. Kai walked the decks like a shade, his eyes ringed with permanent shadow, his voice saved for knot lore. In his bunk, he discovered a new weave, a cradle of rope that held him in a trance. Not sleep, but rest.
Not sleep, but enough. The binding holds.
Mara found him there and said nothing. She simply sat and began tying the same knot.
Teach me the rest. If you ever fall, I'll be ready.
One clear night, they stood at the prow. The bound serpent gleamed under starlight, a monument to sacrifice.
It's still there, still waiting. But tonight, The sea is calm.
Mara glanced at him and saw the faintest curve of a smile, the first in weeks. He knew the vigil would never truly end. But for now, the fleet was safe, and he was not alone. They sailed on toward dawn, the Serpent, a constant companion, and Kai's hands never stopped tying. The fleet sailed into a quiet dawn, the bound Serpent, a distant silhouette against the rose-gold sky. Kai stood at the prow, rope in hand. Young cadets gathered around him now, their hands following the ancient twists. The old ways were no longer mocked. The world Serpent remained frozen, a monument of iron scales and shimmering bindings, a constant reminder. Kai's eyes, ringed with shadow, held a light that refused to dim. Each sunrise, he chose to stay awake. They called him Rope Rat once, a joke among cadets. Now they called him the Binding. He had bound the apocalypse with nothing but string and will. The knot lore would outlast him. Mara and new students carried the patterns, ensuring the vigil never broke. And every sunrise, he stood alone for a moment, listening to the rope's whisper, keeping death chained at the edge of the world. His personal war was eternal. But he was not fighting alone anymore. The rope tightened,